Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode here, or, well, not really an episode, preview of the World Tour teams where Patrick Blake and myself go through what we think is going to happen next year. And obviously, we can laugh at ourselves when we get it all wrong. Maybe we will even get the teams wrong. But I mean, Patrick, Visma Lease A Bike, very, very big team, as we know. They had that historic season in 2023. 2024 didn't come out with the biggest results, still 32 victories, second place on the tour with Jonas Vingegaard, who had an absolutely blinder of a beginning of the season. Au Gran Camino, Tirreno Adriatico, and yeah, a load of stage wins along the way. He also won a Tour of Polonia after recovery from the Basque Country crash. And of course, at the Vuelta a España, Wout van Aert even took some victories. Him, of course, as well, having had a lot of crashes throughout the year. The Olympics, the Dwarfstor Vlaanderen crash, and the Vuelta a España. But anyways, Visma Lease A Bike. 32 victories, not bad at all.
Yeah, it was actually really good, especially when you consider that in there was also an omelette victory with Jan Tratnik. Dwaalsdorf Vlaanderen, despite the calamity that it was for the team, had a silver lining in the fact that Matteo Jorgensen won that day. Jorgensen also did very well in the Dauphiné, or if I remember correctly. I think he came second there. And didn't he win Paris-Nice as well? The fact that they won Tirreno and Paris-Nice, like those are some of the biggest stage races going, was just incredible. Plus, he got eighth place in the Tour. So, like, Jorgensen had such a fantastic debut. I mean, the question is, Scott, like, I think that Jorgensen probably made the biggest impact. I was actually surprised when I look back. I realized this was Jorgensen's first year with the team because usually when a rider arrives at a team, they don't usually hit the ground running so well as Jorgensen did. And I mean, gosh, he was one of the only people able to follow Van der Poel up the Paterberg, I think it was, like when he was super slippery. Jorgensen was fantastic this year and probably one of the better signings.
Yeah, I agree. I think he definitely was. I mean, it's not just about Jorgensen. How do you think the unit as a whole fared this year? I mean, 32 victories is not easy at this level, and they got a lot of World Tour wins, despite not getting a Grand Tour or a Monument.
Like you say, considering they didn't win a Grand Tour or a Monument, they still have a lot of notable results which they can be proud of. So they did really well, all things considered, with the crashing of Wout van Aert and Laporte, and then also the crashing of their main man, Jonas Vingegaard. They did a really just reconciled really well after that. So quite impressive from Visma Lease A Bike. And I think if you were to remove those crashes, they would probably have done a lot better.
But anyways, we might as well go into our favorite part of the show. No, it's not predictions, it's the transfers. And I mean, they have been a bit busy here as well. A lot of the teams very busy, but Visma Lease Bike quite busy actually. Well, who's leaving? We talked about this in the Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe one. Two of the riders, or actually three of them.
Robert Hessink is retiring after many years of professional cycling. Sad to see him go. Jan Tratnik moves to Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe alongside Mick and Tim van Dijk. So Visma losing three riders to what is probably now one of their closest rivals in the peloton. Koen Bouwman goes to Jayco Alula. Milan Varda goes to Q36.5. Johannes Staune goes to Decathlon Étoile Mondiale. And Michael Hessman hasn't been re-signed with the team, obviously, because of the controversy around his, I don't want to call it a scandal, but his doping incident, let's call it, that happened. The team hasn't re-signed him after that, so we don't know what's going to be going on with him. I'd say there are some definitely notable names. The loss of Tratnik is quite notable. Hessink as well. These kind of mainstays who are always really good at, keeping a level keel when things are going kind of sideways in the peloton. Staune didn't really live up to the hype, I suppose, from when he joined the team. And then, yeah, but Bauman, the Van Dijk twins, and Milan Varda, yeah, like they're good riders as well, who you probably wouldn't want to be losing. But when you look at the flip of this, which is the riders coming in, there's a definite focus, a bit 50-50 split on the youth side of things, but also some other experienced names arriving to try and compensate for the losses which they had. I say losses, the people who left the team.
Well, who's the biggest loss for you out of the ones going out?
I'd say Tratnik, just because of his
Yeah, actually.
versatility. Like he's really good in a Grand Tour setting. He's super good at guiding, his team, but he's also really good as a one-day racer and just for positioning. He's just a whole package, really. So I'd say Tratnik.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate your little mascot behind you? For any of our podcast listeners, we have a
Yeah,
little,
yeah, right here.
what would you call it? A
This
bull? A
this
little bull with rainbow horns.
it's the Highland cow from the Glasgow World Champs
Well, there we go.
went to. I just kind of sit in there. He likes to be involved with the recording sometimes. He kind of scurries over from over there.
Anyways, who's going in to Visma Lease A Bike?
So we'll start with the youngsters. We'll start with first. So we've got Nicolas Berens, who's obviously the under 23 world champion. He's been taken from the Lidl Trek future team. You've got Jürgen Nordhagen, who is very, very active in a lot of dot pro stage races. I specifically remember the Deutschland tour, he was really active. You got Timon Grat, also from a Visma Lease Bike development. You got Matthew Brennan from Visma Lease Bike development team as well. He's a huge talent, good sprinter, very versatile. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. And you've also got Menno Huizing, again, from the Visma Lease Bike development team. So that's the, combined ages, averaging at, 20 or something for those lot. And then you got four riders coming in who are the more experienced. So you got Dan McClay coming in from Arkea B&B,
Wait,
slightly odd.
what?
Yeah, did you not know that Dan
I did
McClay?
not know this one.
Yeah, I know. It's so weird. Then you also have Axel Zingler from Cofidis, who had one of the weirdest announcement videos. Did you see that? Where they kind of animated his bunny hop when he bunny hopped Pedersen on stage 5 of the Tour this year. Really strange. Victor Campenaerts comes in from Lotto Destiny. I think that's basically like a Tratnik replacement, I feel. And then you got Simon Yates, who's been brought in to psychologically battle Adam Yates in such a strange arc. Like if you said to somebody outside of our sport, so the two best GC riders in the world right now, they're like luxury domestique are twins, but they're just on different teams. Like, what a strange story arc, eh?
What happens at the Christmas dinners?
They're just sat there in like a UAE jersey and a Visma Lease A Bike jersey, just saying, "My lead is better than yours." Apart from they're from Bury, so they sound different to that.
I thought it was funny at one point you had Mikkel Bjerg, who's a Dane, riding for Tadej Pogacar, and you had Jan Tratnik, a Slovenian, riding for Jonas Vingegaard. But this is funnier.
This is even weirder, basically.
So do you think that they've replaced enough talent in with what that's leaving, considering, like you said, Jan Tratnik, the Van Dijk twins?
I think so. I think Campenaerts can replace Tratnik mostly. I don't think he can climb as well as him, but I think he can do a lot of the Cobble Classics stuff that Tratnik can do. I think that Simon Yates is a bigger name coming in than any of those names coming out. So I think that's a big plus for them. Zingler, I don't know what he's like as a domestique, but as a kind of guy to get you lots of top tens in French one-day races, he's an absolute gold star for that. But I'm not sure if that's what Visma Lease A Bike are going for. So I find it a bit odd as to where he fits in. He's basically like Christophe Laporte, but not quite as good in any category. It's a bit strange. And then Dan McClay, I presume, is just now folding into a life as a domestique, is what and maybe as a lead out man for the Olav Koy, or as like a second last man for Olav Koy in the sprints, because I'm gonna presume that Christophe Laporte is still gonna be the actual lead out man. I don't really know. And then you got all of the youngsters who, yeah, it's hard to gauge their worth at the moment in comparison to the riders going out, but I think in terms of the ceiling they have of ability, I think they're all really good, and I think they could. This is showing Visma's, passion towards keeping their team strong in the future, and it's not just like a flash in the pan. Like this isn't like a team which is just going to be folding after 3 years. Like, they're here for the long run.
In terms of Simon Yates, he's quite an interesting rider. If anyone who's followed his career, when you look at it, coming through the ranks in Great Britain, taking stages in the Tour de l'Avenir, him and his brother running Riot one year, and then winning the Vuelta a España, obviously really was up there as one of the best riders. I never really understood why the hype wasn't there. Like a Miguel Angel Lopez, the hype was through the roof. Is it because Simon Yates is from Berry and not from Medellin or Cali or Bogota or something like that? I don't know. But in terms of, I think the market is also a bit bigger if you're from Colombia than from Barry. Like such an incredible career. Third at the Giro d'Italia, almost won it in 2018, had that big collapse that we all know, but he had like absolutely ran riot with the race in the first 2 weeks of it. And yeah, the Vuelta win. And then in 2023, when we were all talking about his brother finishing third behind Tadej and Jonas winning it, he of course managed to finish fourth coming back. So this guy has also won the white jersey as well. So it's like, it's crazy the accolades he actually has. And it's now he's going to have to put himself into this luxury domestique role. And if he does follow his brother Adam Yates in that kind of role where you do maybe pick up some victories. Like Adam Yates has done very well at UAE. He's won the Tour de Romandie, the Tour de Suisse. There's a lot of victories he's picked up. My point is, Adam Yates is a luxury domestique, but he has cleaned up a lot. He's won a lot since he's joined the team. So do you think Simon Yates is going to do a similar thing? And do you think Simon Yates is the key to cracking Tadej Pogacar at the Tour de France?
I think that he will do better at Visma Lease A Bike than Jake Lula, based upon the fact which is that these kind of super teams just seem to have it dialed in. The riders which go there just seem to perform better. They just get on a better weather program that's going on. Like they're just better. I think that Simon Yates. Yeah, don't read into that how you will. I think Simon Yates, how you say, Adam Yates actually ended up doing better at UE Team Emirates as a domestique than he did as a leader in the Ineos Grenadiers. So I'm going to presume that the same thing's going to follow suit here, where Simon Yates could end up being a better version of himself by being here, and he could actually get better results as a consequence than he has previously. Is he going to be able to take over as is he going to be able to be the new Sepp Kuss? Like, is he going to be making Sepp Kuss redundant almost in his role? I don't know. But you have to say, yeah, outside of Sepp Kuss, who do they have who's going to be supporting Jonas in the high mountains? And I think that's what they're bolstering here is that they realized that their depth of mountain support wasn't able to compete with UE Team Emirates because you look at their team and it's just absolutely ridiculous. And I think this is them trying to make themselves better in terms of the depth of talent they have so that they can compete with UE Team Emirates rather than just being dictated to, in terms of how they want to race it because they've got a much stronger team in the mountains. And I think, yeah, this is going to level the playing field a little bit. I don't think, will it be the key to beating Pogacar? It could be. It could be, a person who really kind of shifts things around a bit because he can, give Jonas an extra person or, just maybe even be that last man. So, yeah, he could be the person who helps to break Pogacar.
But I mean, we've changed the structure that you made for us a bit there, so we might as well jump back to the monuments. The team there, they obviously they didn't win a monument this year, but they have won in the past. Wout van Aert, obviously Milan San Remo. We talked about Roglic in the the Red Bull one that he's won Liège-Bastogne-Liège before. How competitive do you think they can be next year, assuming that Wout van Aert is going to be able to stay out of harm's way? And who do you send for Milan San Remo for each of them?
I'm looking at just the same old names that I've been looking at for the last 2 years, which is that it's going to have to be Wout van Aert and Christophe Laporte, pretty much. That
You're
is
not
your
going for an
San.
Olaf Koy. You're not being loyal. But yeah,
He
Milan San
could.
Remo is so tricky right now. But could Olaf Koy have been there in that group with Mads Pedersen and Jasper Philipsen?
Ah, maybe. Thing is, it's a strange thing with San Remo. It's just all fine margins. And we saw a different script to this year. We saw Van der Poel working for Philipsen. Could the same thing be done with Christophe Laporte and Wout van Aert? Or Christophe Laporte, Wout van Aert, and Olav Koy? Can Koy hang on to the coattails and, beat Philipsen in a sprint? He could do. I don't think Wout would be able to beat Philipsen in an out-and-out sprint. I just don't think that's going to happen. The amount of times we've seen Wout van Aert just choke a sprint is just, I'm running out of hands, basically. So I think that their best option of victory is to either make it hard to get Philipsen out of there so that Wout's got a better shot, or they try and play it a bit defensive and keep Olav Koy in there to try and hope that Koy can beat Philipsen, but it's going to require Coy to take a step up.
And I mean, Roubaix and Tour of Flanders, again, it's the same old.
Same old
Will
thing.
Wout win? I mean, he wasn't there this year because of the crash that was to Vlaanderen and Clares, but he has won E3 in the past where he outsprinted Tadej and Van der Poel, Laporte in there. you need all the troops on like 100% form. But even then, Lidl Trek are very strong as well. Mads Pedersen desperately wants to win Milan-San Remo and Paris-Roubaix, I think, next year. So, I mean, Wout, I don't know. I think he is still their best card, if I'm honest.
Just think that for years I've been saying that Wout can win it. For years I've just been let down, and I'm just so scared to say it again. In theory, their team is so strong. Going down the list, you got Affini, Benoit, Campenaerts, Jorgensen, Laporte, Wout, Dylan Van Baal, and then one other person. Take your pick. I'd probably put somebody like Perston Hagen as in there. You could even put Nicholas Behrens in there as well, or Bart Lemon, Tosh van der Sande, Julian Vermote. Just take your pick basically of those riders. It's such a ridiculously strong team. I'd like to see outside of a monument. I'd like to see Persson Hageners and Nicholas Behrens get that greater leadership in the team, rotate the team around a bit, give Wout and Laporte that rest and allow them to just focus on the monuments. Like you say, it is all down to Wout by and large. They're going to have to deploy some crazy good preemptive strategy to get people into moves in order to beat Van der Poel. The simple fact of the matter is, Scott, for years Van der Poel has just been beating Wout. Every single time the race has been dictated by Van der Poel. We saw it in the Olympics as well, even when Remco was up the road and all Wout had to do was just sit on his wheel. He was still suffering going up that cobble climb, and he still binned it, despite the fact that he didn't, there was just absolutely no need. As the years go by, I am less and less convinced that Wout van Aert can beat Van der Poel in a head-to-head fight. I can't remember the last time that Wout van Aert beat Van der Poel.
E3 in that
Yeah,
sprint.
when it was just like basically a sprint at the end and it was like a three-man group, like, you know what I mean? Like, if you were to take it on average, Van der Poel is the one who holds the cards.
Yeah, that's for sure.
How is Wout going to beat him? Like, he's just going to get dropped on the Paterberg again.
Anyways, the Ardennes, who would you send there? And de facto also Lombardia, but Vingegaard's not going to either of them, so don't waste your breath.
I'm actually just looking down my team there.
Jorgensen for sure. He would be good for this. I mean,
Yeah, I guess
Jorgensen
so.
would be pretty much good for any of these monument races.
But I'm actually struggling to see their big bid for victory. Who's their rider who's going to be winning Liège? Who's going to be winning La Flèche Wallonne? I just don't see it. You could try and argue Wout
Wow.
to do Liège.
Yeah, wow.
Wout to win Liège. I mean, he's podiumed it before. Maybe he could try do it again, but he's going to have to try go with Poggy or Remco or whoever it is that attacks on La Redoute, and he's not going to be able to do that. So he's going to have to hope it comes back together. Yeah, Jorgensen maybe. Like, who's going to be able to follow him? Like, I don't really know. I don't actually think that Ardennes team is particularly good, to be honest with you. Give the opportunity to some youngsters in here as well. Why not?
So Lombardia, I mean, you would send Jonas Vingegaard, but I don't think he's going to be going.
Oh, yeah, bloody, I blooming doubt it. Who would I send? Yates, Simon Yates. It would be very similar. Simon
Yeah.
Yates, Walter, Jorgensen, Kelderman, Bart Lemon, Jürgen Nordhagen. Honestly, it's not that great of a one day race team for the hilly races. If I'll get top tens, it's just not good. They're not going to be podiuming in my eyes.
Yeah, I think you're right with that. But anyways, moving on to the Giro d'Italia, and I had
Yes.
the strange experience, which was very nice, being with them on the Monte Grappa stage. There was only four of the riders left last year. Not a great Giro d'Italia from them. They got stage wins. Did they get a stage win? Anyways, Brooks was the big card that they were hoping for, and white jersey looked like a top five position was on the cards, but obviously got sick. For the Giro this year, there has been murmurs of Jonas Vingegaard. So, I mean, Patrick, who would you send to the team? And do you think maybe we are going to see Jonas Vingegaard going here? And would he be our first, I think, even Danish winner of the Giro as well?
I would like to see him at the Giro. Yeah, for the same reason that I liked seeing Tadej at the Giro. Although, is it just going to be another kind of cakewalk victory for somebody? Maybe. But Jonas going to the Tour will be interesting just because it's what Tadej did, and
The
therefore it's going to
Giro,
be. Sorry, yeah. What did I say?
the Tour. Well, it
Well,
is
he's
a
going to go to
Tour.
the Tour as well, isn't he? Jonas going to the Giro will be interesting because it's what Tadej did this year, and whether he can do the Giro Tour double. And maybe people are now thinking, is the Giro actually now optimal preparation for the Tour? Maybe it is, but let's go hypothetically. I'll play your game, Scott. Jonas goes to the Giro. Who's gonna go with him? I reckon Brooks would go with him as well, so that he can put these demons behind him once and for all, and not go as a leader, go as a domestique. Pressure's not on him, and he can try pick up a top 10 as well. Brilliant, right? Solid. Do that. Now, outside of them, who would I send? I'm looking mainly at Olaf Koy and whether I might be tempted to send him to the tour, and
Oh,
therefore
at the
whether he would.
tour. Ooh.
Yeah, well, this is a guy who's been at this squad now. He's been getting some good results. Does he deserve a tour spot by now? I feel like he kind of does. But it is going to take away from Jonas. Thing is, it's going to take away from Jonas either way, because he's going to either go to the Giro or he's going to go to the Tour. Either way, he's going to be detracting from Jonas. This is a guy who's too good to be going to the Vuelta as his sole Grand Tour of the year. Like, he needs to be going to some of the bigger races. But also, yeah, okay, going back to the Giro. Sorry, got sidetracked. Affini, probably. He'll probably go there. Valter usually goes there as well. Bart Lemon, Van Baal. Would you reserve Simon Yates for the tour?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or you send him as the lone leader to the Giro. But I
Yeah.
think if we are entertaining the thought of Jonas Vingegaard going here and winning, I would do exactly what UAE skeleton squad at the Giro and then full blast at the Tour.
Yeah, because by and large, you'd think that as long as Tadej doesn't go here, and probably, well, he'd be able to beat Remco and Roglic, I think, on, level ground, level playing field. Nobody injured or anything. Like you say, just send an absolute, B/T/C squad, and Jonas will just win because he's the best climber there is in the I don't know, in the race. Yeah, you could absolutely do that. Send Jonas with just the people I mentioned, maybe even throw in some youngsters in there as well. Maybe send in like Persson Hageners as well. I don't know what I've mentioned him so much. I'm also just quite boisterous about how he could do in the future, and I'd like to see him go to a Grand Tour.
So,
And
okay,
then,
we might as well look at the Tour de France, assuming that Jonas Vingegaard is the leader there as well. Are you putting Wout in the Tour squad or the Giro Vuelta or the whole Sepp Kuss angle? Yeah, and
all
are you
right,
putting Sepp Kuss in the Tour, I guess?
yeah, I guess so.
Yates already quite strong.
Yeah,
Matteo Jorgensen, that's three very strong. Kelderman, four.
yeah,
That's quite a strong mountain
yeah,
train already for Jonas.
yeah. You got Jonas, Sepp, Yates, Jorgensen, Kelderman, Wout, Laporte, and one other. Who we sending? Benoit,
Yeah.
Campenaerts,
Oh, yeah, that'd be quite good.
Van Baal.
Oh, Van Baal, yeah.
You reckon? One of
You're
those?
welcome, Visma Lease A Bike.
Yeah. Or maybe you don't send, or maybe because you got your mountain trains good, maybe you're sending Kelderman to the Giro. Maybe you take out Kelderman and you put in another ruler if you're feeling a little bit.
You just killed the Koi dream.
Yeah, well, all right. Honestly, Scott, there's no way he's getting in here.
Tour of Austria it is.
Okay, well, Coy goes to the Giro then because Jonas only needs like three people to lead him up a mountain. So to the Giro, you'd send Coy along with the thing is usually Laporte leads him out, but I'm not sending Laporte there. So he's got to get led out by
Dan McClay.
Damoclay, Affini, Tosh Van der Sande.
He didn't seem like he needed any lead out in Paris-Nice, so
No, he probably doesn't, but I don't know who else is going here, so I'm just kind of hedging my bets. He needs to have somebody. He needs to have somebody else who can peak over 1,000 watts, Scott. Like he needs something. We're not going to send him with, Krausweg as support. I haven't even mentioned Krausweg in any of this conversation either. He could go to the Giro as a part of the, as you call it, skeleton squad.
actually that's a phrase borrowed from you, so I can't
Is
take
it?
credit. Yeah.
When did I mention that?
But okay,
Gee.
if Jonas is basically taken out of the occupied with the Giro and the Tour, I'm for sure not thinking that you're entertaining the Giro Tour Welter with him because he had the opportunity to do the Welter. Obviously, he became a father for a second time. Welter, who are you sending there? Is that going to be the prize for Simon Yates to try and reclaim what he won in 2018?
Yeah, I reckon that's a fair agreement. I'd send him.
With Brooks, maybe, because he's arrested from the Giro.
Yeah, with Brooks. Could you go with Jorgensen? Is that too much?
What? And then it's just basically who
Who cracks first?
Yeah, that would be quite good.
I would like to see Jorgensen after, he's going to be doing the cobbles where he's not an out and out leader. Okay, yeah, he might get to do Paris-Nice or the Dauphiné and be the leader, but he's going to be a domestique in the Tour again. It would be quite cool to see him as how well can he do as a out and out leader in a Grand Tour? Because he came eighth in the Tour this year, which is really good. And that was in the service of Jonas. So if he goes and does his own thing, where could he finish? Oh, I don't know. Maybe that's just a step too far.
I think that's quite good. But anyways, we might as well come to your section, our new section, hot takes.
Hot
Highest
take.
place in the
Oh.
monuments and who's the rider? I'm gonna
Ooh.
say third place with Wout van Aert in Paris. Actually, that's quite boring. Second place in Milan San Remo with no, actually that was too far. With Laporte, there we go.
Laporte and Milana Sanremo.
Yeah, and third place Paris with Wout van Aert.
But what,
And Vingegaard wins Lombardia.
so much has just come out of your mouth. And I was perplexed by the first thing. Laporte, what happened to Wout and MSR?
Oh, he got caught up. Like he missed the crucial break. They played Laporte is marking moves, and
Right.
whoever wins, he's the guy that he didn't out sprint.
Okay. Right. I see you. Okay. I get what you mean. Okay. For the monuments, best placing will be Wout at Flanders, where he's going to finish second. In true Wout and Art fashion. He's like the new Sagan, second place. I don't know, other hot takes? Or do you want other monument stuff?
There's no rules in this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes it so scary. I think that Perston Hageners will win a semi-classic,
Ah, okay.
be it, an Omloop, a Kerner, a Dwars Door, something like that. I might even extend that to Brabant.
The Giro d'Italia, what do you think? I think Jonas Vingegaard will be the first ever Dane to win the Giro d'Italia and lift the Trofeo Sabina
Well, yeah, I mean that seems pretty logical.
with five stage victories.
Five still okay, yeah, I think you win, but I think five
Maybe not
victories.
five. That's too much.
No, I reckon he'll win, and I reckon he'll win by or who's going. It depends who's going. This could be a big claim. I think Jonas wins by 8 minutes.
Outerbrooks will finish seventh.
Such an Ita Brooks position.
The Tour de France is Jonas winning the Tour de France 2025.
This is going to be such a good fight this year. I really hope they're both good. Optimal prep. I'm just thinking about how far was Jonas from Tadej this year and how much of that was because of the crash. I think he's going to come second. I think that Tadej's going to win again.
Sad times.
Come on, what do you think, man? You,
He's gonna
you
finish fifth.
he's going to finish fifth,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
But that doesn't work because he was injured this year and he finished second. So I hope he wins, but yeah, I don't want to jinx it.
You
I think he
never
might
say
win
he
the
wins.
polka dot jersey.
Okay.
Vuelta España?
Volta Espana, I think Yates finishes second.
Oh, who's winning the Vuelta?
Roglic.
Ah, okay, fair enough. I think he'll win it.
You think Simon Yates is going to win the
No, well,
Vuelta?
you cornered me with this before when I said something about Simon Yates, and then you it completely backfired. So yeah, we might as well continue that trend. But yeah, who do you think is going to be the best one of their transfers as well?
Dan McClay.
Ah, it might actually be.
I don't actually know.
I'm so flabbergasted by that. That I did not hear that at all. So
No, I actually think their best transfer will probably be, I think it'll be Jürgen Nordhagen.
yeah, this is the future kid that everyone's been talking about. Better
Yeah,
numbers than Jonas Vingegaard, apparently.
I think that Jürgen Nordhagen's going to do better than Simon Yates. So he's going to have to somehow do something better than second place in the Vuelta.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what I've just said. Listen, people, it doesn't need to make sense, all right? Just need,
He wins the Tour of Austria. He wins all these. Yeah.
yeah, you watch.
But anyways, that's basically it for our very long Visma Lease A Bike episode. As always, thank you for listening. We are, of course, available on Spotify as well. Smash that like button here on YouTube or subscribe to the channel as well. We have plenty of more content coming out here in the off season. And of course, check out Patrick's own channel that is currently in hibernation, I Will Do Cycling, down below, and follow, well, I don't really tweet that much, but follow Patrick on Twitter, which is also in the description down below. But with that, that's basically it for us, and we will see you in the next one.